This is the BMF of skateboard blades. The independent ethereal flame. Okay, in this video, we're going to discuss the dimensions and properties of this blade. We're going to discuss Jim Phillips, the man who inspired this blade with his art. And then we'll conclude with a brief discussion on the man whose namesake this is, Jim Bowie. So, why do I call this a skateboard blade? What makes this blade unique? Alright, well, first off, it was primarily, or a lot of it was made with skateboard parts. Okay, starting here at the pommel, you'll notice the iconic independent logo. This was cast from melted down independent trucks. The scales of the blade come from a skateboard deck. The insets on the scales are independent trucks from the base plate. We have independent hardware for the pins holding the scales to the tang. And then over for the cross guard, again, melted down independent trucks. Woo! Alright.
Showtime! Woo!
The blade is spring steel. It was shaped, heat treated, and tempered down from a 6mm stock. See, we have some decorative etching on it. Down here at the ricoso, you can see where it starts with a Scandi grind that progresses into a saber edge. We have a swedged clip point, and yeah, it's sharp. The overall length is 36 centimeters. We have a little over 20 centimeters for the blade. That comes out to an 8-inch blade, which is just big enough for it to be considered a proper Bowie knife, and it's 14 inches overall. The scabbard, you can see it works really well. It's not coming out, got a nice good fit to it. Comes in and out really easy. Yeah, you say, oh, hey! And going back in, it gives you this really satisfying click. Love that. Alright, so the scabbard body is a skateboard deck separated. We got a little piece of leather in here separating it. Down here at the chape, more melted down independent trucks. Okay, got a little bit of some cordage here, leather cordage. Some fancy decoration going on here. It's carved and wood burned on. It's sealed with an oil wax, a clear oil wax, and also a little colored oil wax you can see here. Up here at the locket, we have a leather locket with a California clasp here. This was forged from coping from the skate park. And to top it off, we have a little extra Ric Flair there.
Silent and profiling.
That's the top, that's the head of an independent kingpin. Independent. The first skateboard knife I did was actually done exclusively with skateboard parts. I forged the blade out of an independent axle. But as you can see, there's a little bit to be desired in your blade. I mean, you know, theoretically, you could do it all out of just skateboard parts. You could forge weld, say, a bunch of independent axles or kingpins together. But, you know, hey, that's steel, that's grade 8 steel. You can see here if you look on the top of this head, you'll see 6 lines. You have the independent logo there too, but you'll see the 6 lines. Those 6 lines indicate that that's a grade 8 bolt, grade 8 steel. And this grade 8 steel, hey, it's good for bolts, but for making a knife, I mean, it'll make a decent knife, but it's not going to give you the same type of blade as this spring steel is going to give you. One of the first things that you notice on this knife is the iconic independent logo on the pommel. Okay, this is one of the most successful and enduring logos or brandings in the history of skateboarding. There's a reason for that, because it's badass. A lot of people know the story behind this. Jim Phillips came up with this logo, and he's the one that pushed it. And when he brought it before the heads at NHS, they shot it down at first. They were like, nah, I don't know, man. That's a little bit edgy for us. I don't know if we really want to portray that type of image.
With the sword, the gun, the bomb, and a dread disease which needed only pavement in order to multiply and proliferate.
But Jim knew that it was rad. He stuck to his guns. He kept pushing it, and he went and got a Time magazine that had a photo of the Pope on the cover, and on his vestments he had this symbol. And when he brought that back up to the powers that be at NHS, they were like, okay, well, hey, if it's good enough for the Pope, it's good enough for us. And then you have the birth of this the independent Iron Cross. Of course, that led to many people trying to trace this symbol back to its origin. You know, I was one of them. As far as I got it, was the Anglo-Saxon period. And then, lo and behold, I found out it goes much, much deeper than that, okay? It goes all the way back to the Anunnaki, man. It goes back to, Inky used to rock this symbol. And if you don't know who Inky is, well, he's the dude who used to dabble with your DNA. Alright, he came on down from the Biru, Bubba. And, but hey, man, that's a whole nother subject, man. I did some remote viewing on that. You know, I have to bring you up to speed. It's pertinent information that everybody needs to know and understand. But right now, let's keep it focused on Jim Phillips. Yeah, like I said, Jim was the one that pushed this, and, you know, I'm glad he did, man, because it is, it was just one of those things, man. As soon as I saw this, I knew that I was going to be riding independent trucks for the rest of my life, all right? It just had, you know, that kind of biker image, man, that, you know, that punk rock feel to it. You know, it just made it tough, you know? Back when I was a kid, man, I was into Conan the Barbarian, Evel Knievel, and Rambo, alright? And then, you know, when skateboarding came along, it was like, it was like wrapping all three of those things together. And then, you know, you put the punk rock element on top of it all, and it was like, man, I was hooked, you know? Think about it. So, you're out riding around, slashing and grinding on your skateboard / knife, sword, okay? You're doing daredevil stuff, launch ramping, bomb dropping off everything you can like Evel Knievel, and then you're getting harassed and kicked out of places and told to move along, just like they did to poor Rambo. And that's where the art of Jim Phillips comes in. He had this perfect mix of madness and mystery that somehow tied it all together and made it intuitively understandable. I mean, I remember the first time I laid eyes on a Rob Rothscott board. It blew. I couldn't get my mind around it. I couldn't get my head around it. It was all these bright colors and this monster arm popping out of the board, pointing down at this, I don't even know what it was, pointing at it. And who is Rob Scott? What is it? Who's behind that thing? What's he doing? It just melted my brain, and from right then and there, I had an epiphany. And I realized that skateboarding is, in of itself, an alternative reality. But hey, man, let's not get too sidetracked with the esoteric here. Let's stay focused on Jim. One of Jim's favorite graphics was the slasher. Okay, now, he was partial to the character. It was like his Mickey Mouse. But for me, it was all about the knife. I mean, think about it. It's kind of like Rambo. What do you remember about Rambo? Okay, you remember his knife. Okay, that made the movie. Hey, and if you were back in the day, all right, every kid and his cousin had a Rambo survival knife. And if you were one of those unlucky kids that didn't have one, I guarantee that you were scamming or scheming your way into getting one. So yeah, for me, it was about the knife. And it's an image, whether it's, you know, a big Bowie knife or a sword or a switchblade, it's an image that has been used repeatedly in skateboarding. Okay, whether it's the slasher, the sword and skull, we've used them here for contest. The examples go on and on and on. And you know, why? Why is it used so often? It's because it works, okay? And it's something, well, let me put it to you this way. If you have ever witnessed someone properly executing a frontside slash, and I don't care if you are the most jaded kid on earth who can triple tray flip and has seen it all.
I'm not completely satisfied, but I think it was alright.
Or some old OG grandma that ain't never even seen a skateboard.
43-й год выпуска этих коньков моих. Представляете? Вот сколько они дюжат. О, как делали.
When you witness someone executing a frontside slash in its proper form, you're witnessing something there that's primal, okay? The primeval, man, straight from the primeval ooze. Alright, so Jim was an old surfer. He knew what was up with a frontside slash.
Surfing, you know, skateboarding was surfing's ugly little cousin.
So all hail Jim Phillips and the frontside slashers. Hey, backside slashers too. We ain't forget about you. Solidarity. Congratulations. If you made it this far in this ADD extravaganza, go ahead and pat yourself on the back right now. I appreciate it. Hey, sorry, we ran out of time here, man. Didn't get to James Bowie, but we'll save that for next time. So if you enjoyed this, leave it a like, leave me a joke in the comments, and hey, I got a lot more of this stuff ready to roll, just got to edit it, so subscribe. Later.